Psychic Holistic Spotlight. We're here this evening. Bill Hannon is my co-host, and we're going to be interviewing Jason Tavares. And Jason is an author who's written 2 books, and I've read parts of both of them. They're not my usual reading fare, Jason, but I really was delighted. I like to read everything. And he writes about vampires, so I think for Halloween there'd be a lot of people be interested in these books. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you.
Jason, were both books about vampires?
The first book is about shadows, about a kid from Prague. Fictional stories, of course. Fictional story about a boy that sees shadows.
I wouldn't say, of course, here in Rhode Island.
That's true. There's a lot of weird and strange happenings there.
Right.
That's true. The first one I wrote in 2008 about a kid named Nicholas Johansson, and he grew up in Providence, and he sees shadows, and basically they notice him noticing them. Mm-hmm. So he merges both worlds throughout the story.
Mm-hmm. So the shadow, were the actual shadow people? I mean, there are...
It's more or less your own shadow. Like people that don't have shadows in the book have a shadow inside of them, being like a spirit of somebody that had passed on, and they dwell inside that person. And it can almost be a dangerous thing.
Right.
But I don't want to give away.
Right. That sounds very unique.
But it's psychic, too. I mean, you must have a lot of psychic ability to be able to pull this kind of a story together.
A lot of free time.
Okay.
Vivid imagination.
Vivid imagination, yeah. Like a lot of the ideas I come up with are more or less written on napkins and during meetings when I should be paying attention, so on and so forth.
You know what I particularly liked in this book, Existence, was your reference to going to South County. The vampire goes to South County, and he goes by the beach in wintertime, which a lot of people do, and then the mention of Warwick. I think that when you get someone writing and mentioning streets and places it makes it more real. Yeah. And especially with a vampire story, it kind of puts a thread of truth to it.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of ties in for people that live in the area. So.
Right.
I know out in URI area, there's always stories about old hauntings and things like that, and
Absolutely.
Over in West Bay there's old houses
That's right.
You drive by and people point out that house is haunted.
Yes.
There's a lot of it in Rhode Island.
Right, and especially around the time of Halloween, there are vampire stories, and the vampire legend that has come about in our time is that vampires are people who suck the blood out of other people, meaning take their life from them, and it's come to have a double meaning.
Yeah.
Now, where did you get some of your ideas? I think you went to Romania.
Oh yeah, I went to about 11 cities in Romania, England, been to a lot of haunted spots in the United States. But most of the characters in the books are from people that I've met. Like I've met people and I just thought, hey, this person's interesting. I could tie them into a story. And I tried it one day and I could do a couple of paragraphs, and then I started to implement a lot of different people that I met, and it made the stories more interesting. I just changed their names.
That's right. See, I thought the 35th birthday party, which must have occurred right around your 35th birthday.
Yeah, right around that time.
All right, and I said, gee, this is a story of a 35th birthday party, and all these people seem so real.
Yeah.
And then out of that, very soon after that, we get this man turning into a vampire. But you know what also seems very interesting is he isn't a totally bad vampire. He does bad things, but he really is also a protector of good people.
Yeah, he has. It's in him that he needs the blood to some extent.
Right.
But he tries to use almost like a moral way to get it.
And is that kind of unusual in writing a vampire story, or you're just trying to be individual? You're writing it like you feel.
Well, I try to make in that book there. That's actually based on the Shadow Inside's based on a friend of mine. So I made him the star. The vampire in the Existence is actually me. I just changed my name. So it's really, if I had to become a vampire, that's the way I would do it. The same way he did. I'd go after people I think don't. I shouldn't say that, but people that deserve justice.
But there are,
That's kind of how he does it. So.
A Dexter approach, huh?
Dexter approach, exactly.
right. But what is also interesting is he keeps the relationship with the girlfriend from his 35th birthday party. And she doesn't become a vampire.
Well, he meets her like years later after.
Right.
It kind of ties back in, but I know what you're saying. He keeps the.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still
The
cares about her.
dream, the dream, yeah, it still
Exactly.
goes on.
Yeah, it's difficult though with everything that he went through.
Right.
I imagine it would be, but I mean, I try to put myself in his shoes when I was writing it, so it made it most enjoyable because
Right.
it's all my.
It's
views on
real,
that.
and it makes it have reality. And I know a lot of people love vampire stories.
It's popular now.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah, very
popular.
popular.
Very,
It's very popular,
Yeah.
yeah. In
My-
fact,
the younger-
a lot of the people that
Yeah.
read about now are actually seeing series and things like that. I mean,
right.
they're looking at a moral approach, just like you had mentioned, and they're talking about people who are now work for blood banks or work in a morgue or something like this. This way, they're not out there killing people. But
Yeah, they're
it's
trying to
just-
find a moral way to do it. He's pretty brutal with his, though. He makes this pretty apparent of what he is. He doesn't come out and say, I'm the one doing it, but he does. They can't put their finger on anything else. It has to be something supernatural. And
So-
if you were in a professional position as a police officer or an investigator, you wouldn't come out and say, oh, yeah, this is vampires.
That's right.
But everybody kind of keeps it to themselves that, hey, that's
Right.
more than what it appears to be. These
more than
killings are.
a normal thing.
Normal.
Yeah.
So they know that it has to
Yeah,
be
it has to be something else, but-
out of this world,
Oh, yeah.
from the outer world.
But no
or
one's gonna say it,
motivated
'cause then they're the
yeah,
crazy one.
Right. Well, in my family, my great-grandniece visited when I was reading it, and of course she thought I was really cool.
Yeah.
Because she's 11, so she thought to be reading this was really
There you
magnificent.
go. Maybe she'll read it. Maybe she'll like it.
She probably will.
Cool. That'd be good.
Right, and both my daughter-in-laws actually read this Twilight series. One of them said when she got pregnant, she read it in one weekend, the whole series.
Wow. It's a lot, was it 4 books? Or?
Something like that. She just sat down and just went right through them.
Jeez, it's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
Now, I was a grade school teacher, so I'm wondering, what did teachers think of your writing when you were in school?
Well, actually, I just sent out 36 letters to every high school in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And I think it's 72 or 76 letters to every library to
Okay.
try to get the books in the schools. I know a few of the high schools already have them in their library, and then a couple of libraries do. Like Cranston has it in all their locations.
Okay.
So it's it's a slow process, but I'm starting to get the name out there. But I notice kids like it because kids that buy it are on my Facebook and they leave comments about
Right.
they like this character and that character, and it's more or less. If you're adventurous, it's anybody can relate to it. If you're
Right.
15 all the way up
That's right.
to whatever age. So.
Did you always want to be a writer?
Yeah, because I didn't pay attention much in school. I did well in college, but in high school,
Okay.
my mind was always into drawing pictures and writing, basically. Yeah.
Okay, and you were still writing. And what did the teachers think when you were young of your writing?
They didn't like me not paying attention.
Okay, but I found that many of the very creative persons that would write, teachers didn't like that writing. They wanted them writing on this topic, that imitating a particular poet or writer.
Right.
And they didn't encourage you to be freely,
To express yourself, to
That's
express
right.
your creativity. Right.
It made it a little difficult as a kid. I mean, because when you're into writing like this, you do a lot of looking out the window rather than
that's right.
looking at the teacher. I mean, my grades weren't horrible. I wasn't
Right.
a bad kid, but I
Well-
mean, they probably would have liked me to pay attention more than
I
looking at
don't
this stuff.
Aquarius people always look out the window, and I don't know if you're Aquarius. Maybe
Pisces, yeah.
Pisces. So you probably have Mercury in Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury has to be in the same sign or one before or after
Mm-hmm.
as the sun sign, because looking out the window is particularly Aquarian. And the reason is they're dreaming dreams that they're really going to go to and accomplish. But the teacher looks at them and doesn't understand that.
That's what I
Unless the
went
teacher's an astrologer, and then she says, well, I guess it's really all right.
Sure.
through. Oh, the art teacher liked me because I could draw good.
Right.
So
Right.
we got along well.
Well, also now, learning what you've been able to more or less put on paper, now you're also picking up the